a mic check, be like, okay, here it is on KFAI, and be like, it's just like no audio, and I'm like, no. So I'm glad you can hear me, and I'm
Get
glad
it, dude.
So I just finished like the local release roundup, and your track is spinning now. So I was hoping to just kind of jump in to this collaboration because I love the artwork and I love the remix, and I'm kind of like, not to ask like a really glib question right out of the gate, but like, which came first? Were you working on the artwork for the collaboration for 9 to Pi, and then you were like, you know what, Merry Christmas, here's this remix? Or did you have this and we're like, we got to do this?
No, actually, all of that was extremely serendipitous. Like, I honestly, I had already been working on Jolene for probably like 3 or 4 months. And so I kind of decided, I don't know, I decided that I was going to do Jolene because I really wanted to pay some tribute to Dolly somehow. And I've always loved Jolene. I grew up with a best friend named Jolene, and my dad would always sing Jolene to her, you know, as like, ha ha, you know, but like, that was just a fond memory of mine. And so I was like, how could I, you know, maybe make a remix of Dolly or something? And her music's amazing for, you know, like the fact that it's like old, you know, classical country or classic country, but it's hard to remix in electronic way, you know? So I was like, how could I actually remix her actual stems and make something that made sense? And that seemed kind of like the difficult step for me, and which was why I didn't do it for so long. And then I kind of resolved that, like, maybe I'll just do it all myself. So I remember Googling the BPM for it because I was listening to it one day and I was like snapping my fingers, and like I was like, that sounds like 115, or like that sounds like disco tempo. And so I Googled it, and it's 114, and I freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, okay. So I make a little like disco like beat in Logic, and that was kind of like syncopated hi-hats, like, you know, you know, and I sent it over to Pat, who used to play for Irie Soul here in town, and he used to play in the Bermudas with me. And he was like, I was like, hey, I really need you to write Jolene's chord progression in like as if Chic or Prince wrote it. And he's like, okay, I could do that. And I was like, okay, cool. So then he sent that back, and I was so excited about it. So I cut everything out and quantized everything, and then was like, okay, well, next we need bass, right? So I hit up James Geisinger from Frogleg, and I was like, Jimmy, we need some like Earth, Wind, and Fire vibes on the bass here. And he just absolutely killed that. And then I got that back, I mixed that down a little bit. And then I think the next thing I did was send it to Jason Hand from String Cheese Incident. And then at the same time, I sent it to Jessica Borth of Spectacle. They're like a trio in Denver, and she's an amazing violinist. And so I was like, Jessica, we need some like Jamiroquai strings on this song, like really heavy Jamiroquai influences, like Earth, Wind, and Fire influences, like just very 70s, very full orchestral sections. So she played the viola on it as well, I believe, and a little cello. She just went ham with it. And then at the same time, Jason played like some bongos and djembe, and then did this timbales solo that was like very Studio 54. So that like it was just all the right things happening. And then I sent it to Todd Stoops from REI, who's guested for like Emancipator before, and he played some electric keyboard and some clav and just some like really interesting, I don't know, sound design synth. And then after I mixed all that down, I was like, this sounds really cool, but needs one more thing, and that was horns. So I hit up Brian Snow.
Oh no, are you still there? Okay. Oh no, did we lose you?
Brian Powers, Snowman.
There we go. There we go. Okay, cool.
Nice. Sorry
This
about
is the
that.
thing. Like I immediately call her like, oh, it's a new thing. So hope it works. So, thank you for being patient.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, essentially then
and it came to
yeah, I had him come do horns for me, and then he helped me mix it and master it as well. And
nice.
so the whole process was just amazing to get like, I mean, 7 different people from all over the country on one song was really exciting. And it was really like, it was great camaraderie, you know, because we were all really missing performing and seeing each other. And like, it was just really fun to make something fun together that was lighthearted and that wasn't, you know, super important to some sort of label. It was just like something we all really believed in and like respected and like wanted to pay homage to. And so I think that's why Jolene came out so well. And then I remember actually, I bet you know who May Simpson.
Yeah.
May Simpson's one of my good friends, and I hit her up because we had just had a release that we had finished producing. And I was like, hey, I think I'm going to need you to come sing on this cover of Jolene that I'm producing right now. And she's like, why? And I was like, because it's too high. And she's like, sing it your damn self. And I was like, rude. I don't think I can sing that high. And she's like, yes, you can. Shut up. And like, literally that was that. And then I did it, you know, like, but it was not without trying.
Well, it's crazy because like a lot, like I almost put Chic on this playlist, and like I definitely got some Jamiroquai, but also it sounds like we know a lot of the same people, which is kind of crazy. And I was actually gonna try to bring that up. So it's kind of weird. Right now we are in this like weird like freeform thing. And then we're going to be on the radio after this track. But I wanted to ask, are you from Minneapolis originally? Because a while back, like a long time ago, we were on some festival together. It was an old band of mine called Fairfax, Alaska. I think Motion City Soundtrack was on. And then you in the Bermudas, I think it was Pizza Luce Block Party. But like I was told y'all were from the West Coast or something. And I was like, who is this? This is like a street party. And like, but you're collaborating with all these folks. Like you even mentioned a friend of mine in Frog Leg, and we got May. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So do you live here now? Have you always lived here? Or did you bounce around a bit?
Here.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm losing you. Hold on. Let me see if I can click buttons for a second. See if it works. There we go.
You got me now. Am I good? I think I'm good.
Yeah. Good. Okay, sorry. So are you from here originally, or have you been moving around a bit?
No, I'm from Bozeman, Montana. I moved here 10 years ago to go to art school in downtown to the Art Institute, which was a total bust. I don't think they're even down there anymore because they were like, you know, being crappy people. But they took my money, and then I was like, I hate you guys. And so then I was like, I'm going to go do whatever I want now. And that ended up being music, actually, which was a big surprise for me. I feel like I was like, in college, you know, I was the only one that could play an instrument in our friends. So I was summoned to do that a lot at parties and things. And that was sort of the extent of me wanting to be really involved in music, because that aspect of it was pretty funny. But then I ended up moving here and thus got involved in the hip hop scene originally. I started doing some MC work. And that's kind of how I began to meet kind of everyone. And then touring regionally has really connected me a lot with okay, so James used to play in the Bermudas as well. Jimmy Geisinger from Frog Leg.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay,
and so was Tim Kingstrom. Yeah, and then Tim Kingstrom from Space Monkey Mafia, and
Tim.
So he used to play sax for me as well. So I've had a lot of. There's been like 6 Bermudas through the year. Ben Rickle, who plays with the Rope and the Artifacts. Pat, who played with Irie Soul and Sister Calypso. Kish, who played with me. Tim, who played with Space Monkey Mafia and the new Revolution or something like that. A lot of Shang bands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stand by. We're gonna switch to the radio. It's just gonna be the same thing, but I want to talk about the 9 to Pi artwork as well, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that is new Lazen Low. Don't look for it because they literally just sent it to me last night and they got the masters, and that is going to be coming out hopefully this year. So if you like what you hear, stay tuned to the Lazen Low page. We also heard some new King Perry and the new remix from Megan Hamilton, who is with me now, both virtually and we're on the radio. How are you doing, Megan? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Doc. I'm doing so well. I love to hear Lazen Low and those recent tracks. Those are good homies of mine as well. It's such a small world.
It is a small world because I feel like I'm listening to you tell stories and I'm just like, oh no way. Like, wait, did I meet Megan earlier and just not remember it? Or is it because it really is such a small town, especially when you tour regionally. And because I feel like I've met a lot of those folks. I met a lot of those folks playing out of town before I met them here. But like you said, a lot of times at Shangri-La, a lot of Harmony Park connections. It just happens when you play a lot of live music. So you remix Jolene. I love it. It is like when I listen to it, I almost like put some Chic on this playlist. So I'm glad you're like, yeah, I'm kind of looking for this. And I was just like, okay, I hope I'm not off base here. And I hope you don't think the mixtape sucks. If we have time to finish it, I'll post it below this video. Awesome. So I want to talk about the visual art on the 9 to Pi, because you've been doing a lot of really cool visual art for collaborations with breweries, and the fact that you dropped this great Jolene remix, and then you did this artwork for I just saw the Crowler. How widely produced can we get the 9 to Pi?
Okay, so basically, yeah, it just so happened that I'd been working on Jolene like prior to this anyway. And I was kind of thinking to myself recently that I'd been doing some illustration work on my iPad and I was really enjoying that. And, I'm a beer lover. I'm a weed lover. I was like, you know what? I want to design a beer can. That is cool. And Chuck Yu has been a friend of mine for years.
Yeah.
And watching him do so well for Indeed and like he used to paint at the hip hop shows I would do. It was just like, I want to do that. I'm finally feel confident at the level where I feel like I could say, hey, I think I could do this for you and you would like it, So basically I just was like, I have a large network that I've acquired on social media and I put out a status that said, you know what? One of my bucket list things is I want to design a beer can. And that's all I said. That's all I said. I didn't invite inquiries. I just was like, I'm just going to say this into the universe. And like, you know what? Maybe somebody just happens to need that today. And it happened to get a lot of traction. And I ended up getting 2 gigs from that. And they both happened to be like right before International Women's Day. So that was really cool to be able to correlate both of those releases with Women's Month and International Women's Day as well. So one was Listerman Brewing in Ohio, and then the one that you're talking about was Dual Citizen, which is in St. Paul. It's owned by 4 women. So that was really exciting for me to be asked to do that. And so I did not know them at all. A friend of mine tagged one of them in the post I had made, and she reached out to me, not knowing who I am at all, and said, hey, Megan, we have this can that we really need designed, and we're kind of thinking that like we want Dolly Parton, but she like needs to look kind of like a saint. And I was like, that is so funny because like, look at this really fast.
It's
I know
perfect.
people like listening can't see this, but I'm holding a Dolly Parton Saint candle.
Oh my, yes, that's perfect.
That my friend Kaya bought me. And so I'm just like, you guys mean like this? And like they're like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah,
couldn't be more serendipitous. I'm like, well, you guys really have no idea. Like
yeah,
actually, next week I'm releasing, this cover of Jolene I've been working on with 7 collaborators for the past 6 months. And so all of it just really ended up working out well. And I just kind of decided to go with the one or like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibe with the rest of the can with the marshmallow clouds and like the guava
yeah,
river and stuff like that. And
yeah,
they were really excited about it. And the whole interaction went really well. And it was great to work with them. And that's kind of how working 9 to Pi came along. Yeah, when they said that to me, they're like, we need you to design this Dolly beer. I was like, say
yeah.
less, say less, say less. I like ran upstairs to my partner and I'm
Already
like,
working.
oh my God, you will not believe what just happened. So, because anybody who knows me, I have Dolly knickknacks all over my studio. They're just all over. So it was just so serendipitous or, synchronistic, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it.
Oh yeah. It's so you've been collaborating with so many people virtually in the pandemic, both visual and audio art. So for the folks that missed the off mic conversation, and if you follow both, please don't do it while you're driving. We archive this video. You don't need to watch both in your car. But can you do the rundown of the personnel on this remix just for the folks just tuning in? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing that you were able to put this together with so many different friends virtually across the country. Like that's like when this pandemic hit, like this is an excellent way of like, yeah, let's just make something fun. So who collaborated with you on this? Because it's excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Essentially, the first idea came to reach out to someone when I had the original thought of like, I would love to do a Dolly song, but how do I convey this in an electronic light?
Yeah,
And so I was like, maybe I just need to redo it myself. And then I decided to look up what the BP, or I was like listening to Jolene, and I realized the
yeah,
BPM
yeah,
was like near 115. So I Googled it and it was 114. And that's like Disco Nation. That's like, I
yeah,
mean, 115 to 125, I would say that's where most disco lives. And so I was like, oh my God, I think I could do this. So I put together a beat and Logic really quickly. And I hit up my friend Pat, who used to play in the Bermudas and Irie Soul and Sister Calypso. And
yeah,
it's like, Pat, I need you to come up with the Jolene progression, but I want it to sound like Chic or Prince. And he was like, okay, word. So he did that and sent it back to me. And I was like, I ran down here in my studio alone and I just kind of like sang to it for a second. And it was like, I
yeah.
just started laughing because it's
This
like
is
one of
it.
those things that you're just like, this is it. Yeah, this is so exciting. And so I'm like, okay, what next? Because like that's just I'm such a firecracker when it comes to like once I get going, it's just like dominoes for me. So it's like I hit up Jimmy Geisinger from Frogleg, who used to play in the Bermudas as well, and I was like, yo, dude, I need you to do some like Earth, Wind, and Fire style bass line on this, and he absolutely slayed that. And then we sent it over to Jessica Borth of Spectacle out of Denver. She plays the violin and the
Nice.
viola and everything ever. Her family's just like prodigious string
Yeah,
players. And so I was like, we need Jamiroquai on this, like so much. And she was like super pumped about it. She sent over the most stems of anybody, I believe. She sent over like 15 different layers of string stems just to make those sections sound really full for me.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
we also sent it to Jason Han of String Cheese Incident, and he was one of my really good homies. He played some djembe, some bongos, and then this amazing timbales solo that sounds very Studio 54.
It really
And that
does.
really set it off for me. And that's when I was like, hey, solo section. Like, we're having a solo section now. So then after that, I was like, we need some like clav or some keys or something because I can play keys, but not like Todd Stoops. So I hit up Todd Stoops from RAQ, and then I hit up Brian Powers from the Snowman Band, and he also plays in Purple Rain, the Prince tribute band that plays around here.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he goes by Snowman. He looks like a big snowman on stage with his little saxophones, and he's the best saxophone player I've ever heard in my life. No offense to my previous Bermudas, I think they would completely agree with me. And he also does sax and mixing and mastering for Victor Wooten, so that's quite a credential. And he's fortunately, I don't know how in the heck, but he's one of my good homies. And love you so much, Brian. Thank you for helping me mix this down and for your horns. It was like the last cherry on top of everything. And then we mastered it real quick and decided to put it out. So it was just, I think only 3 of us live in Minneapolis. The rest live in Santa Monica, and Denver and Florida, and I think, just all over the place. So that was a really fun experience, and it provided us a lot of camaraderie right when COVID started. So
for sure. I love how like you're just getting what you put out tenfold. Like you just put out these intentions of like, let's just do this. I got to do this, and it just comes together so well, especially considering the everything around.
Definitely, and I feel like sometimes people just need to be asked that, like, what do you want to do? Like what interests you, so.
Yeah. I love what came together. So we are going to get back to the mixtape here. And we're going to I'm actually going to pull some tracks from the Bermudas, if you don't mind. But first, I want to play a collaboration between Sticky Buds and K-Lab here on KFAI.
Nice.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm just going to type the metadata of this track in because I was slacking on that. That's like the thing I need to get. I need to get a third arm. Well, I mean, I would feel bad in COVID times.
I guess,
having an intern. But I've definitely had that thought before, where it's just like I need an intern. How do I get one?
You just gotta put it out into the world,
It's hey kids, I can pay you not much.
Honestly, though, it's not. I don't even think that it is weird. You should totally just post about it, Doc. You have a great following. You should be like, I would love to have an intern sometime at KFAI. People would be like, me.
I'm afraid. I'm still afraid of my following on the internet because sometimes it's really cool, like where it's just like, hey, I need this, and it's just like instantly, and then other times it's just like, oh, how do I turn it off?
That is very true. Sometimes I greatly regret like the things that I start. But one thing that is really nice about the communities we've built on our social media is that often they will take the trash out for us. So if I have some asshats, can I say that when we're not live? Sorry.
Yeah.
If I've got some asshat blowing up my thread, I have like pretty much 99% faith that like 10 of my friends are going to drag him before I even see it.
That is a good point, because the more and more I delved into using the internet, because it was the only way for me to keep tabs on all the folk I met from touring.
Totally.
The easiest way of just like, just like find me on this or Twitter or like I'm on all of it. But I just have like that like introverted like don't read the comments, and it's just like, oh, I feel like I have to respond. And like every once in a while when you get like a troll or someone who's just like really like just saying something like incendiary for the sake of just like pissing people off, like I'm just like, how am I supposed to respond to this guy? Like a bunch of people in the comments section were just like it was like white blood cells before it, like
it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I love the community I've built. I mean, like, I guess, I've really polarized the people that don't want to defend the things I believe in. And so like the people that do are still around, and I know that they'll come to my aid if I need them. So that's always like comforting for me when I'm feeling like I'm about to say something bold, which is awesome.
It sounds like you're doing something right. For sure. So like how do you manage, like, when you start working on an idea, because it sounds like you work fast. Like once like things get going and you're like, this is what here's what it needs. Here's what it, like, do you normally have an entry point, or is it just like random inspiration and like, yep, oh yeah, you know what, this would work really good with this, and let's throw, like, how do you start with something like, I'm going to do a disco version of Dolly Parton? Like where does that begin?
I pull a lot from inspiration, definitely. I mean, I'm like the kind of person that will be watching heavyweights and I have to shut the TV off so I can run downstairs and remix Sexy Thing by Hot Chocolate, because how has nobody done that yet? Like,
that's a good point. Wait, for real? I want to like look on spot. What? Okay.
Well, I did it. So, I mean, I handled it for everybody. Okay. I took the brunt of that.
You took the heavy lifting for us. Thank you.
But yeah, no, I think that is a lot of where those ideas kind of come from, and I'm very much a person to act on my inspirations. I have a 5-minute rule where essentially if I like have an idea, I'm going to go work on it for 5 minutes at that exact moment, because how much of a waste of my time is that? And often it might like end up being much more time than I actually intended to spend on it. But just getting it started is a huge step sometimes, so that you don't forget to keep working on it. So
that's so like immediately you get it, just like work on it for 5 minutes, and if you get rolling, it like all the better. And then if you're like, all right, I have it saved, and then I can come back to it.
Yeah, exactly. So I do that just like, I mean, with writing, I write down like every idea I have, even if it's a stupid idea of like a cool phrase or something that would be cool in like an MC line or as a song name or like an album title or whatever. Like I've made at a point to write them down, because a lot of the best ideas get really just lost in the cosmic soup sometimes, I feel like, and I'll never think of it again.
It's amazing how like you get like the good ideas and you're like, oh well, I'm not going to forget that because this is the best idea I've ever had. Gone. Tomorrow it is
the worst. Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny, like the list of arbitrary ideas that are in my list, they're so random, but like sometimes they like show themselves at the perfect time, you know what I mean?
Right. I think I need to start doing that, because I never did it when I was in my 20s, but now that I'm a 30-something, it's happening more often, and I don't I don't know if that's the age or the pot or whatever, but you know,
it's probably all of it.
Little column A, little column B, but I definitely think well, I also definitely think that it comes as part of the inspiration, but like little things where I'm like, there's no way I'm going to forget this. This is the idea that solves all the problems I have with this project. There's no way I'm going to forget it. And then by the end of the day, it's gone. And I've never been a person that wrote stuff down. I always used like the cloud, which is a really bad idea, I'm learning. Like it's not good to just have that be your only copy of ideas, because I have had hard drives stolen and things, all that. But like, do you just keep a notebook with you at all times?
It depends. I don't really write things down manually unless I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Like that's one of my definite anti-anxiety tricks, is if I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I need to write down every single task that I need to do. And if I'm feeling able, I need to go into those tasks and start laying out steps towards solving them, so that I can get that endless open loop in my mind out. But yeah, I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say.
We need to write it down.
Hey, well,
What DAW do you use? Because
I use Logic.
You use Logic? Oh man, I've been trying to I need to go back to Logic. I switched to PC, and I think that's like why I like. And now I'm just like I'm trying to get the sense of Ableton. And for me, I don't know if I'm just like an old dog with no new tricks, because like I feel like I can kind of like, this is too long and I need to chop this up like in Ableton. But like for some reason recording, I feel like I only know how to use Pro Tools when I'm like setting up a session for like recording actual instruments. And I don't know if I'm just like, I feel like such a Luddite.
Yeah, I think Pro Tools is like really its own beast. And so like I feel like I love Logic because I think it's the perfect dichotomy or the perfect like adjacent but juxtaposition of Ableton and Pro Tools. You know, like it's great for live recording, but it's also great for synthesis or like sound design, like la la la. But yeah, no, definitely being like pre-programmed in Pro Tools would probably make Ableton not very intuitive for you. And it's like kind of funny that I produce in Logic because I teach at the country's very first Ableton certified training center, Slam Academy here in Minneapolis.
Slam Academy? Oh my
God.
It's okay. It's a smaller town.
It never ends. It really doesn't. I'll continue to blow your mind if we keep talking.
Like we don't need the 7 degrees. We have it right now. So how do you manage teaching? Like, do you just like throw up like a stream like this and teach a class and like share your screen like in COVID times, or like has everything just become extremely or like a little bit more relaxed of just like
No, actually, we really figured out a great platform to be able to provide the same level of education that we were before, but online. So essentially, I don't teach music production because I use Logic. So it would be kind of, counterintuitive for me to teach Logic in Ableton school. But we have tons of amazing Ableton teachers. And we use this really cool program called Audio Movers that we're licensed through. And essentially, it allows us to share like I think even higher than 320 kbs, but like extremely high quality audio with like practically zero latency. So all of our students can watch what all our instructors are doing and hear it in real time in the same audio quality that our instructors are in, essentially with maybe like 0.002 milliseconds of latency. Like it's highly effective for what they're doing. And then I teach music industry, music business. So I teach the more like contracting, settlements, like social media, like tools and tips, analytics, insights, reading sides of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like, I feel like, where do you think that's going to go after all this? Because I see all these like huge corporate big dogs like just doubling down on Live Nation, and I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but it just feels like the world just went like, this is too big to fail. And that kind of freaks me out a little bit because like I feel like a lot of cool stuff has like moved to Twitch, and they're already trying to like copyright strike it. And it's just like, how big is big business going to get with this? And like, I feel like the stuff I learned at McNally Smith, which is a really great institution. I still don't know where my bachelor's degree is, by the way. Maybe the real McNally Smith was the friends we made along the way. But I feel like all that stuff is like outdated. It was outdated the year I graduated, but now it's just like, is this gonna turn into like this weird Mad Max world where it's just like, just walk away from the lawyers?
I don't know. I think it's gonna implode on itself at some point, because I think the larger artists, even though they are making money, they're starting to address the fact that the smaller artists aren't. So
Yeah.
they're realizing that they're taking a large majority of royalties because that's the way that things are paid out, and it's hard to explain the flow of royalties in like a brief or understandable amount of time. But
Yeah.
essentially, like the bigger you are and the more streams that you have, the more shares of the royalties that you will make. So larger artists make more royalties per song than me. You know, Lizzo makes more like money per song on Spotify play than mine. And you know, I'm not mad about that, but because that's the way it is.
It's just how it is.
Exactly. You have to learn to live with it. But I think that's going to be like a self implosion thing over time because, I mean, Interscope seems to be the only large label, in my opinion, that's really learned how to do any decent artist development lately with Lizzo and Billy and things like that. And
who does A&R anymore? It's weird. Like, I don't know.
I think that's exactly it. Like they're stripping everything back so much. And actually, Pat, who played on the Jolene song, used to play for the Bermudas. He used to work when he started playing for the Bermudas for Universal Music Group, and they eventually laid him off because they didn't like they were closing down the Universal Music Group sector in Minneapolis because it wasn't relevant anymore. And his main job was to help facilitate physical copies of music into stores like Best Buy, etc. And that wasn't happening anymore because people don't want physical media. So I think they're trying to like figure out how to make it work. And yeah, I know they're really holding on to this DCMA crap and all this copyright stuff to try to hold us down right now. But I think that like with the new resurgence of money being put into people like NFTs, for example, you know, like Grammatic just made a ton of money off of NFTs. Like people just made like $69 million on one piece on like an NFT. Like we're putting money into the hands of the people who are on our side finally. And I think over time, maybe that could tip the scale while the major label industry continues to implode on itself. And it will. Yeah. In a perfect world.
It'll be a slow turning. It'll be a slow turning for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 30 seconds before we're back on the air. Just kind of like giving a time set. The NFTs, like I'm both like excited about that, but recently I'm just like, wait a minute, is this money laundering? Like, are y'all just like hiding millions of dollars? But that's a different thing. Okay, stand by.
I feel you, dude. I'm kind of half and half about them too. There's some weirdness there.
All right, stand by. Okay, so that was Megan Hamilton and the Bermudas featuring Slink with the funk. We also had Lady Flash, the Go Team. Haven't heard the Go Team in a long time. Just figured I'd put them on the list. Donnie, the Bermudas, and then Sticky Buds and K-Lab. Clap your hands now in that set. If you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands. I'm your host. You can call me Doc, and I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they bring to a desert island. And today I'm with Megan Hamilton. And I talk a lot, so if we don't get to the whole mixtape, I will post it underneath this video after the show, and you can check it out later. Find all the fun things that won't be on the KFAI Twitter playlist. So since we're talking about, I don't know, I feel like the doomsday of the industry, what are you working on now? Because you're constantly working on stuff. Do you have anything that you're working on that is something to look forward to in 2021? Anything else cooking? Or am I giving away trade secrets at this point? Am I putting you on the spot?
No, we're just kind of getting the ball rolling again here and like preparing to be touring again and kind of getting our feet wet, kind of seeing how like long we'll stay afloat. I don't know. I don't want to count all my chickens still. I'm feeling kind of strange about it, but we're having lots of bookings come in and we're confirming lots of offers. So it seems like that things are moving in the right direction. I just hope that with our dubious recent history that we don't screw it up again. So I'm just really hoping for that. But yeah, in the meantime, I've been working on an album and a few other things. And it's funny that you said earlier how many people you know that I know. And maybe the people listening right now know that we all have in common, because my new album is called 6 Degrees, and it kind of was based off that entire concept. So, I mean, like, it's just really, the cosmic soup keeps punching me in the face with that one, and I just
know.
can't let it
Whoa.
go.
Okay. I'm just laughing at all the synchronicities between like the random things of just that have happened during this conversation. So excuse me if I, if I just laugh too much. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, so because I know the touring, especially for usually the stuff that I've been in the last recent years is like not very much pop sensible, more performance art than anything, but when you don't tour, it's a lot harder to do stuff. And I've definitely been turning down show offers just because I think it's a little bit too soon, and then kind of punting to further in the summer. But like, where, how are you going to tour? Do you think, like, are you just like, are you hedging your bets and just kind of like, all right, we'll tentatively agree to that, and do you have a rescheduled date? Because I was joking with Monica LaPlante when she came on the show of just like, it's such a weird thing to be a musician and say, oh man, we have a gig, this is gonna be awesome, I hope people don't show up. like, I hope people stay home for this one. I don't know about this.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not taking any gigs prior to this coming June, and that's the earliest that I have decided that I'm going to play. I want to give everybody their chance to get vaccinated, or, make their move, whatever they're going to do, if they want to be smart about it, and then come party if they do. But yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, and it's definitely been a weird time. And with touring, yeah, I suppose it's just a matter of like, when I'm talking touring, I don't have any like full tours booked out, so I've got like lots of one-offs and stuff. But for example, in terms of them being canceled and like how that's handled, for 2019 for 2020, we had to cancel 21 bookings in the month of March. So I was highly sad about that. Yeah. And I was supposed to play Coachella, but it didn't get announced yet. So I couldn't even tell anybody. So it's just like gonna be the best year. And I was so pumped. And so when that happened, I had the same concern, like what happens now? So we take deposits for most of those shows personally. Every management agency, blah, 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 will handle it differently, but we take a deposit, and then that gets put in an escrow so that we don't touch it, so that, if it needs to be paid back because of force majeure or act of God or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Then we have that, and it's not spent or anything like that. But that's kind of how it works. And then we've just kind of been waiting for people to update us slowly as things go on. Hey, like, Sonic Bloom said yesterday, we're not doing Bloom this year. It's too much. So Lightning in a Bottle said that a month ago. Lots of places are just like, we want to do it right for you. We don't want it to be a cluster F, we don't want it to be a total nightmare and this weird like sardine can of vaccinated people that can't leave. So they're just like, we're gonna push it back another year, and we hope y'all understand that that's both for production value for you guys and just for everyone's general safety. So we kind of hear intermittently of like, we haven't heard this year about whether Shang is going to happen or not yet, but we still have a deposit from them from the booking prior. So like, that's kind of how that continues to work. And then if they eventually say, hey, this isn't happening ever again, then we pay the deposit back, and that's over.
There you go. Yeah. It's going to be interesting because like I definitely feel you on the like huge musical goal like getting fulfilled, and you can't tell anybody, and then it doesn't pan out because of like the whole thing. It's just like I've definitely been getting gun shy about talking about anything because I'm just like, if I say anything before it happens, it doesn't happen.
I feel you.
And we've all been trapped in that weird limbo this year. So I want to just reiterate, since I realize we have about 10 minutes left until Democracy Now! If the listeners like what they heard, if you have been just acquainted newly to Megan Hamilton, where can you hear it again? Where is this new remix? Where would you prefer people go to pick your music up?
Yeah, thank you for asking where I would prefer. Different places pay different royalties. I would say that
Yes.
Spotify does, some of the best for us. So I would direct you all to Spotify. Every release I've ever had that doesn't have copyrighted material on it is on
Yeah.
Spotify. However, that does include Jolene, the cover of Jolene, because I didn't actually use any samples from the original Jolene. We were able to clear that and then just pay Dolly and her publisher
Oh,
for the rights
nice.
to be able to cover that. So that's also available on any streaming platform. So Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, 200 bajillion other places, basically. You can find all of my stuff there from now when I am doing more of like a future-based electronic future funk influenced vibe to back when I was kind of more hip hop influenced, and all the features I've had in between on house music or whatever it
Yeah.
is. So I like to do a lot of things, and it's hard to be brandable sometimes, but I'm trying to have fun.
Yeah, yeah. What genre I feel like is going to be irrelevant anyway. I think the good music is good and the bad music is bad. But I don't think we have to pick lanes anymore. And for some of us, I think it would be a tragedy if we did. Because
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear what you're coming up with.
thank you.
Please stay in touch. Please send it my way
Yeah,
when it
I'd
comes
love to
out.
hang out again.
Thank you for coming on. I'm speaking with Megan Hamilton here on Desert Islands. We have some Jamiroquai, some Gorillas, and hopefully some
Nice.
Grace Jones if we have time. But here's some Jamiroquai here on KFAI. Woo.
You nailed
I
the mixtape here.
I am so bad on time. Like I thought we had like 20 minutes left. We have 10. So thanks. Thanks
Next
for
time
being a
I'll
good
come
sport.
earlier and we can just chat the whole
Oh,
time.
no worries. Yeah, no, it's I like the only reason this is a Zoom show is because what used to happen was you just come in and like it would be kind of like a sometimes we would just like make it up on the fly, and then it was Mason's idea just be like, well, why don't we just film the conversation? Because it's usually just like, let's just hang out. Sometimes we'll talk about the music, sometimes we won't.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about but I kind of like Zoom for it because recently, like I've had friends move to LA, I've had friends move to Vancouver, I've had friends like go to a different continent, and then sometimes I've had friends who like can't even get out of work. Like like Katie Vernon had to come here and like just like talk on her break because that's just life. So like if you ever want to come back, feel free. It's like I would love to do it again.
Yeah,
But
no,
also
I would love to. Thank you so
it's
much for
pretty
having me.
chill.
No, I
Absolutely.
love this kind of stuff, honestly. I really do. I can shoot the shit all day long.
Yeah. The stakes are low here. And
Yeah,
I
I love
actually
it.
encourage actually like a little more less of an agenda. The only problem is sometimes I get sometimes I forget that I'm on the radio and I have to like, oh wait, there's a transition. We have to hit this transition. That's like my Achilles heel, I think, right now.
I bet, dude. As a stoner, I would completely understand that.
I've been waiting until after the show recently, just because I think it's like
That's funny, dude. I do that with shows when I perform. People are because people know I love weed. They're always trying to shove weed down my throat. Like, and especially like people, fans of mine are like, we know Megan loves weed, so they're like, here, I roll this for you, here, and I'm like, during.
I've never felt okay about because like I've had people throw joints on stage, and unless I know unless I like know the person personally, like I remember like this one show, like my friends Reese and Becca like came, and I was like, oh okay, I know you guys, like that's fine, but like it's I appreciate the gesture, but like it's also terrifying to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to imbibe something that fell on stage. Like
Yeah, I
what?
guess. I don't really have those thoughts. I'm a plebe, I guess. I'm just like, ooh, joy, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy.
That's the thing. Like, did I have these thoughts before the pandemic, or these new thoughts?
That's
and
hilarious.
Because I'm always like I definitely have like this is definitely my Cancer rising, but like food is just the way to my heart. Like if like I like oh like I just seriously like if you give me
follow my
food,
foodiegram.
what you have? What? No, I need to. What is it?
Oh my god! Okay, it's the Funky Foodie, and funky is spelled IE. The Funky Foodie, all one word.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because that's and I used to love it, and now I'm like paranoid about it. And it's just like, but I also go back and forth because I'm also a music teacher as well. Like one time, we were taking our students down to like they got booked at Summerfest, so like it was like Danielle and I, we were the tour managers, and like we're in the middle of Milwaukee, and it's just like mostly high school kids, but occasionally there's like some youngins in there that are like 8th grade, and it's just like you're like gathering everyone up and like, all right, we need to get on the bus, we need to get to the fairgrounds. We're like, Sasha, what are you eating? Oreos? Where did you get them? I don't know. Some guy was like, Sasha, that is literally taking candy from strangers.
Yeah,
like, do you understand the responsibility, like, of just like, so like I definitely have been the school marm and Sasha of just like, yeah, I made all these. It's like, because festivals, it's just like you play a set and then like some dude hands you a grilled cheese sandwich that is definitely dose, but you're like, meh.
I have not had one of those before. Okay. It sounds like you get offered scarier things.
I think I do get offered scarier things, and I don't know how I feel about that.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, maybe that is just me then. Maybe this is why
Don't
I can't have
on me.
No.
I'm joking. Okay, well, yeah, we should totally do this again.
Yes, we should.
I'm super down anytime.
And yeah, let me know when you have something coming out, and we'll set it up.
Definitely. Awesome.
I'm gonna log off here because I'm gonna make sure I type everything correctly and then get Democracy Now! In on time. It was awesome to hang out with you.
Yeah, you too, Doc. Nice to meet you, actually. Thank you so much for asking, and I'm stoked to be on it.
Stay safe, and I hope we can get some. I hope shows actually happen in June. I think we can do it.
Me too. All right. I'll see